Well, good evening. Welcome to Grover Hill Zion United Methodist Church uh, for our Thursday evening devotions from around the kitchen table. And I hope this will be helpful to you this evening. I hope you're just having a great new year. I think we talked last week. This is a great time for a new beginning, isn't it? Some people didn't like the old year. Well, this is a new year. Time for a new beginning. Something happened the other day, and it just triggered my mind about thinking about something. So I thought I would just share this with you. Sometimes our language and the words that we use, they can take and drag us down, can't they? But we can also hurt other folks too with our words, just by what we say. You can say negative things to others, and you don't know what they're experiencing. Maybe they're not having a good time either, and you say something bad to them, and you just wound them with your words. Sometimes words hurt more sometimes than just physical beatings or abuse. You say something negative to a child and demeaning to a child, you can affect that child for the rest of their life. You don't know. For instance, you tell somebody they're stupid or lazy or worthless. They hear that enough. Man, it's just like taking a knife and sticking them right in them. It'll hurt them, and that'll just stick with them for many, many years, or it can, if not for a lifetime. I've encountered folks like that it's been very, very hurtful to them, those kind of words like that. They may never recover from those words. Albert Einstein, good old Albert, he said, well, you know what? Everybody is a genius. Everybody is a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will go on through the rest of its life believing that it's stupid. You see, we all have different skills, don't we? We all have different things God has given us. We can all do different things, but we can't all do everything. We're a body. A hand isn't a foot. A tongue isn't an eye. You get the picture. You get the picture. Well, as Jesus followers, we're called to lift others up and affirm others, to build them up with our words and in other ways as well. To build them up, just as Jesus builds us up. To think only positive thoughts, because we are of what Christ has done for us in our lives. A couple of other, if you go around diminishing yourself or putting yourself down, believing that you can't do something, well, chances are you're probably not going to be able to do it. Same way when we say things to our spouse or to our family or other people as well. For instance, like you say, well, you never help around the house. Seems innocent enough, doesn't it? I mean, we use words like that all the time, or phrases like that all the time. But what they hears is, you're lazy. They hear you saying that they're lazy. Instead, an affirmative response or a replacement for that could be, listen, I need more help around the house. They get the message that you need some help. Or another one is that you don't want me to be happy. Well, hearing you say you don't care about their happiness when you do. Instead, you need to just replace that by saying, I need to have you listen to how I feel. And there are many other things like that we use, that we say without even thinking about it, that can really cause damage to somebody else. And we sometimes get to thinking about our own self, thinking about, well, we don't have this skill and that skill, and so I'm not as good as this other person, or I can't. That's a big one. And that's what I want to share with you. A little story here. It's about a small town Michigan school teacher And this story's been around for a while, and allegedly it's a true story. But she was in the classroom, and there was an observer that was in her classroom this one day. This observer's job was to visit a classroom and make visitations and encourage some things to be implemented. And this observer walked in the classroom. She said it was just an ordinary classroom. They had like 5 rows of desks with six desks in each row. So there was 31 students in this classroom. She said she sat down in an open seat that was back there, and she began sensing like there was some excitement in the air, but yet nobody was making any noise. They were all busy writing on a piece of paper, a note tablet. And she began noticing then that one person was just writing, "I can't. I can't kick the soccer ball past the second base. I can't do long division with more than 3 numerals." And she began wondering why they were focusing on the "I can't," the negative aspect of this exercise, rather than focusing on "I can." And she went up front to ask the teacher what was going on, and she realized the teacher was busy filling out her own paper as well, writing "I can't, I can't, I can't. I can't get John's mother to come to a teacher conference. I can't get my daughter to put gas in the car. I can't get Alan to use words instead of his fists." And as she went back to take her seat, she said she looked at some other papers as she walked down there, and another person was writing, "I can't do 10 push-ups. I can't hit 1 over the left field fence. I can't eat only 1 cookie," and the like. Everybody was just filling up this paper with "I can't do this" and "I can't do that." You know, those are words that we hear a lot, aren't they? We hear them in government offices. We hear them all over the places. So anyway, she said she went back and sat down again and waited for this exercise to be completed. And the teacher said, "Okay, don't start a new paper if you've got yours filled out." And then she said, "Okay, it's time to fold your paper in half and bring it up to my desk and place it up here." And she said on the desk up there, there was a shoebox, and each one of those students took that folded up "I can't" paper and placed it in that shoebox. And then she said the teacher placed her "I can't" paper in that shoebox as well, and put the lid on it. And then she had all the students get up and follow her single file out into the hallway. And as they were headed outside, they stopped at the custodian's room and got a shovel, and then they went on out across the parking lot out to the farthest point of the campus then, and they began digging with the shovel that they had brought with them. And all 10 of these 31, 10 and 11-year-olds wanted a chance at digging. So they dug several minutes. So if you're familiar with Michigan, you know there's a lot of sandy soil up there. So they dug several minutes anyway, each one of these students taking a turn at digging a little bit. And finally, after several minutes, they stopped digging. The hole was about 3 feet deep then. And then the teacher took this shoebox and placed it in the bottom of this hole. And then they rapidly covered it up again, this box of "I can'ts." And then she had all the children gather around in a circle, and they bonded with each other holding hands. And then she asked them to bow their head, which she did. And then she delivered a eulogy. And it went something like this: "Friends, we gather today to honor the memory of I can't. While he was with us on earth, he touched the lives of everyone, some more than others. His name, unfortunately, has been spoken in every public building, as I mentioned, schools, city halls, state capitals, even the White House. And you know what? It's even been spoken in church. You know that? You ever hear, "I can't," spoken in the church? I can't. Yeah, well, if you believe you can't, you probably aren't going to be able to. And she said, "I can't" is survived by his brothers and a sister. "I can, I will, and I'm going to right away." They're not as well known as their famous relative, and are certainly not as strong and as powerful as he was yet. Perhaps someday, with your help, they will make an even bigger mark in the world. And then she said, "May I can't rest in peace, and may everyone present pick up their lives and move forward in his absence." You know, as Christians, we need to forget about that word, "I can't, I can't." You know, how many times have you ever heard it say, whenever we start to do something or someone has an opinion or an idea is, "No, we can't, we can't, we can't." You know, instead we need to trust God, don't we? We need to believe that God can do it. Where we can't do it, we need to trust God to do it. And we ought to be saying things like Psalm chapter 28, verse 7, that the Lord is my strength and he's my shield. Or Philippians chapter 4, verse 13, "I can do all things through Christ." I can do all things through Christ. You know, well, I hope that's helpful to you. Remember that "I can't" is no more. "I can't" can only control you if you allow it to. Well, God bless you. Just have a great and happy New Year. And I just really hope your New Year is off to the right start.